Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name is Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex, Moo, and new addition Elsie. More to say about that in a little bit. But yes, we've added a new family member. This is my channel, my little corner of the internet where I share all about my crafty projects. It's mostly knitting, but all the fiber arts are inbounds. Today we've got mostly knitting, but we've also got a little bit of spinning and a little bit of quilting and some sewing. It's been a little while. It's been either 3 or 4 weeks since my last regular episode. In the meantime, I posted a special episode, a Mother's Day episode, where my mom and I sat down and talked all about our crochet projects. So if you're a crocheter or you are just interested in seeing that conversation, please feel free to check out that video and I'll link it up here somewhere for you to find. But yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, it's been a minute. There's been a lot going on in addition to adopting the kitten, which has taken up a lot of our lives. So it's been a busy time. It's been a little while. I have so much to share with you today. I'm not gonna try and rush through it, so this will probably be a longer episode, but I will probably be a little bit lighter on the details than usual, just so we're not here all day. So with all that said, before we dive in, you can find me on social media, on Instagram at Sarah_Seams or on Ravelry at Sarah Ribble. Those are both in the comment box below, the description box, if you are interested. And with that, I think we should jump right in. So we're gonna start with some sewing today. I have like 8 or 9, excuse me. Oh, sorry. 8 or 9 FOs to share with you today. So we're gonna jump right in with what I'm wearing. So this top was thrifted. This I did not make. My skirt I did make. I'm gonna put some B-roll in here so you can see it. This is a brand new pattern by Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. I am obsessed with them this year. I was just looking, I like keep track of everything I've sewed in the year, and like half of the patterns are theirs. Actually, everything that I've sewn that I'm sharing with you today is one of their patterns. So yes, this is a new free pattern from them. It is available to newsletter subscribers. So I'll have the link below if you're interested in getting this pattern. You can sign up for their email list. It's really simple. It actually doesn't come with a printed pattern. It's just a couple of rectangles that you cut out. Very, very easy to cut out. Relatively straightforward. So it is a little bit time consuming just making all the bows. But yeah, basically it's just a simple elastic waist gathered skirt. And then on the sides, there are these slits and you have these 6 bows. So 3 on each side that are holding the slits together. And those are kind of like the focal point of the pattern. I'm obsessed with this. It's so pretty and like feminine and whimsical. I will say the slits come up pretty high as written in the pattern. So I sewed mine to pattern, but as you could see in the video, I'm wearing shorts under it. That's probably the only way I'd be comfortable wearing it. You could definitely either only do 2 bows on the bottom and close up the side more, or keep it as written and just sew the top together, like hand stitch the top of the slit together to the first bow, which I might end up doing. I do think I would be more likely to wear it like to work, for example, if that top section of the slit was closed up. But we're going to a barbecue later today, so I'm wearing it like this today. We're gonna see how I feel, and then I'll decide if I want to kind of close up that top portion or not. This linen that I used to make this is also from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. They have fabric as well as patterns, and it is their cloud linen. I really like it, but it is very light, and I do feel like it's a little bit sheer in certain lights as well. So just one more reason I maybe would want to wear shorts under it anyway, but we'll figure that out as we go. So yeah, the color of this is, I think it was like Tabasco or something like that, or tamale, I don't remember, but it's a real nice rich orangey red. I sewed this up yesterday afternoon. Really fun project, very straightforward. I don't know if I would say, they say it's great for a beginner. I think it was maybe like adventurous beginner to intermediate. Just the bows are a little bit fiddly, but otherwise very straightforward. So really fun new pattern. Highly recommend that. And that's what I'm wearing right now. The other sewing tops I wanted to share with you was actually a preview sew that I did also for Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. So they put out a call for preview sewists, which is kind of like doing a test knit, except, and some people do test sewers. This was more of just like the pattern's ready to go. We just want some people to make it up. So we have a variety of like sizes that we can show it on. And they did accept pattern feedback as well. And I had one comment. But yeah, so it's the Wave Float Top. It's actually available now. It came out last Friday, so I'll have that linked below. I'm gonna put a couple pictures in here of my versions. I made 2 versions. So the first one I made was this like white ground cotton, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it has like the woven in design. It's escaping me, but this really pretty cotton with these black motif, like pluses woven in. And I love this one so much. So this one I made 2 pattern. It has like an asymmetrical ruffle. So on the, well, not asymmetrical, I guess. It's just different on the front and the back. So on the front, it dips down a little bit. And then on the back, it curves up, which is kind of fun that it's not just that like straight ruffle right around the peplum. It gives like a nice full like shape to the top. So yeah, this one's as pattern. I really, really like it. My only call out was that the front neck was a little bit high for my taste. So on my second version, which was a blue one I made with some like tie-dyed secondhand cotton that I recently got at a swap, I dropped the front neckline by 1/2 inch just to carve out a little more room. And honestly, I don't know that it helped that much. I think just the nature of this pattern, like where it wants to, where the weight is, because there's so much more ruffle in the back is heavier. And so it wants to like naturally pull towards the back. And I think like even on the blue version where I made the neckline bigger, it's still pulling towards the back. So I don't think that they made that adjustment in the final pattern. So I think if you made it to pattern, it would not have that extra 1/2 inch out of the neckline. And honestly, when I'm wearing them, they feel the same because of that weight. So I think it didn't really make that much of a difference in the end, and it's just kind of down to the nature of the top. However, it doesn't really bother me when I'm wearing it. And I really like both of these tops, and I've worn them both already. I made the size extra large. Based on my measurements, I did size into the 2XL, but I knew that so for my hip measurement, I should have made it 2XL. But since there's so much fullness in the waist, did I just say hip? I meant waist. It's been a minute. My bust measurement put me in the size XL. So that's the size that I went with. And that would be the advice that I would give to you if you were making this pattern, to go based off your bust measurement, because that is the more fitted part of the pattern. This is not a free pattern. This is a paid for pattern, but I loved it. I think scrappy versions would be amazing. Check out their hashtag. There's a bunch of really cute versions out there already from the preview sewers. Really quick project, like an hour, 2 hours. Yeah. So that's been my sewing recently. I've also cut out a bunch of other projects, so I'm excited to do some more sewing in the next couple of weeks. All right, moving on to knitting. I have a couple pairs of socks, a couple pairs of finished socks. So if you've been here recently, you'll know that I'm kind of working my way through Summer Lee's new book, The Sock Project, and started out with her basic socks. At the beginning of the book, she has 5 patterns for like basic socks, like every version of heel, toe up, cuff down, etc. So I finished basic socks number 2 and number 3. So basic sock number 2 was the Afterthought heel sock, and I did finish my pair. I think they turned out really fun. So the main yarn, this kind of neutral stripey guy, is from Universal Yarn. It's their Sugar Socky line. It is 50% superwash wool, 25% bamboo, and 25% nylon. And the color is Spun Sugar. So yeah, I love this color. It reminds me of that like sand art from the 90s. Dating myself. But yes, I think they turned out really fun. And then I used this little mauve for the toe. So in the book, these are written cuff down. I actually knit them toe up because this was the project that I learned magic loop on. So hey, I finished my first ever magic loop socks. And thanks to Jess for teaching me how to do it. If you're watching, hi Jess. Jess was making fun of me for all the like weird ways that I mentioned her on the podcast, and there'll be one more later today, so buckle up. Yeah, so I did toe up, I did the afterthought heel cut in, and then I did just a little bit of 1x1 ribbing, and I decided to try a sewn bind off on this pair because I have found in the past that when I'm doing socks toe up, if I just do a regular cast off, it's not stretchy enough. Like, everyone tells you this, I didn't listen, I'm trying to be better. So I did a sewn bind off, and I do think it looks really nice. So that might be my new go-to. But yeah, I have finished these. One more pair down. These are going to be for me. I've also this year been working on actually knitting the foot of my socks to be long enough for my foot. I have fairly large feet. It's like a women's size US 10. And I just hadn't been knitting the foot of my socks long enough. It is funny to me though, because now when they're finished, they look so long. Like they look like too long. But when I wear them, they fit perfectly. So I'm trying to be better. All right, next up, and I think I maybe had started this on the last episode, but this was basic sock number 3, which was the forethought heel, heel. And the only real difference between the two is with a forethought heel, you put in a line of stitches that you later pull out, whereas with the contrast heel, you just cut a line of stitches where you're gonna put your heel in. There's no like forethought, if you will. So here are these. These are really fun. They're cuffed down. They have a little folded cuff with a pop, oh, there's where I wove in my end, a little pop color on the inside that just peeks out on the edge. I've never done a folded cuff on socks like this, but I think it looks really cute, especially on these shorties, and it feels really nice when you're wearing it. These are all scraps, so unfortunately I don't have the yarn information. I know that the main color was from Palmer Yarn Co., but I never had a color name for it. So yeah, I used this multi kind of variegated yarn for the foot, and then I used this solid kind of blue-gray silvery color for the toe and heel, and then that hot pink for the pop. So yeah, I really, really like these. I could definitely see myself knitting more of these in the future. Anything else I want to say about them? I don't think so. Again, they look very long, but when I'm wearing them, they fit great. So yes, this has been a good year of exploring sock fit for me, and also like finessing all of my sock techniques. All right, next up, Andrea Mowry recently, last weekend, hosted her annual spring knit along challenge, where you make, I think in the spring it's a hat and in the fall it's socks. And the goal was to knit her new traveler hat over the weekend. So cast on Thursday, be done by Monday at noon, and I decided to jump on the bandwagon. When the pattern first came out, I was like, I don't know about it. I don't know how, I wasn't just sold on how it looked, but I knit a lot of hats and I give a lot of them away. I would say hats are the thing I make the most of, that I tend to like gift the most. So I was like, I want to do it. Why not? I need like a quick win. And so I decided to participate. And honestly, after participating, I did have a lot of fun knitting it. I started on Thursday and I finished it on Friday. Very quick project. I made the worsted weight version, but I'm still kind of like, meh. So here it is. Yes, I made the worsted weight version just with a skein of wool that I have had in my stash. I got it secondhand. It has a very cute little sheepy on the tag. It's just some farm yarn, I think. It's from Warm Fuzzy Farm in Pennsylvania. My heart. And it is a Rambouillet Fin wool. I had 4 ounces, 250 grams. The color is Pink Mist. It's really beautiful yarn. I really enjoyed working with it, and I have some left over. I'm just not sold on the hat, to be honest with you. I don't think I like how like pointy the decreases are. Yeah, I don't know. It fits me okay. It came out kind of big. Like it sits on my head, but it's kind of large. It's way too big for Troy. So I don't know, you guys. I'm curious if any of you also participated and what you think about the hat. I made the adult size small and my gauge was right on. So I'm curious if anyone else had this issue where theirs is just a little bit big, or if that was just my wool or how I blocked it. I don't know. I feel like I'm either gonna end up probably donating this or like maybe keeping it in the car as like an emergency hat. I don't know. It's just kind of big and I'm not sure about the shape, but I still had a really fun time participating in the challenge, and worst case, I have a hat that I can donate to charity this winter for a hat drive. And yeah, I got to use some really nice wool. I have quite a bit. I probably have enough left to make another one, honestly, if I wanted to go down a size. But yeah, let me know if any of you also participated in that. It was fun. I do love that Andrea has these very reliable like knit-alongs every year that you can kind of like plan around or look forward to. Okay, next up, I have 2 more knitting finished objects. Both are sweaters, and I love both of them so much. Okay, so next up is my Lento. I finished my black Lento, and I wasn't anywhere near finishing this, honestly, until the last like week or so, because, and I'll talk more about this later, but I needed to finish it to get a bingo on my May craft bingo, which if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will talk about that more at the end, but I like had to finish the Lento if I wanted to get a bingo, so I finished it and I'm really glad I did. So here it is. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it because again, it is black. It is size 4, knit to pattern. I actually started knitting it as a size 5. So the neckline is size 5. It's a little bit wider. Then I started increasing and decided I wanted it to be size 4. So I just increased to the size 4 body numbers and then proceeded as size 4. So it's basically a size 4 with a size 5 neckline. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. There you go. It's just so nice to have like a simple black sweater in my wardrobe. It's not like the most fun thing to knit, but I know that I'm gonna wear it all the time in the winter. The fabric is really light and airy, which is what we all love about the Lento. It is a little bit see-through. I'm gonna put a video in here of me wearing it. You can definitely see my little bralette underneath. Like if I was wearing it to work, I would need to probably wear like a black cami under it, or like wear it over a dress. But yeah, I love it. So the yarn I used was Knit Picks gloss fingering and in the color black. This comes in 50-gram hanks, so it's 220 yards for 50 grams, 70% merino wool, 30% silk. And I used 3 hanks for this, so 150 grams. This is how much I had left. So if you're making size 4 of the Lento in a fairly cropped body, you can get it out of 3 skeins of Knit Picks gloss fingering weight. I just thought that was hilarious that that's all I had left. And then I held it with Knit Picks Aloft, which is their mohair base. You know, it's that like 70-30 mohair wool breakdown, and I used 3 of these also. I had a bit more left of this one. Also just in the color black. I really like the Knit Picks mohair. I feel like it's very soft and it's very fluffy. I will definitely use this again. It's pretty affordable compared to some of the other mohairs that I've used and very available. So yeah, I just used those 6 skeins. I feel like if you have access to Knit Picks and you want to make one of these, it's a more affordable option if you want to use mohair. What else to say about it? Oh, I did a straight sleeve. That's the only real modification that I'm lying, I made 2 modifications. So the pattern as written has a folded neckband. I chose to do a single layer neckband. So I just cast on, knit the neckband as long as I wanted, and then started the increases. I didn't do the fold. The other thing was on the sleeve, I really just didn't feel like doing decreases, and I wanted a bit of a fuller sleeve. So I just knit the sleeve straight and then did a rapid decrease and knit the cuff and have kind of a cute balloon sleeve. I love it. I think it looks great, especially in the black. Something about it feels very like classic. Other things, on the body ribbing, and this is something I might redo actually. On the body ribbing, I decided to use the same needle size for the ribbing as I used on the body. Because on my other 2 versions of the Lento, yes, this is my 3rd one, I used the smaller needle for the ribbing, and I like how they fit, but sometimes I wish they weren't. They just sit right to my body. There's not a lot of ease, so I wanted a little bit more ease in this one. And I do like the way it sits overall. However, I find that the ribbing tends to like balloon a little bit. So I'm gonna wear it a few times and see how I feel. If I end up really not liking that, I might rip it out and go down the needle size and redo the ribbing. Or maybe go in between. Like I think there's like 2 full millimeters of difference between the body needle and the ribbing needle. Like it's like 6 mm and 4 mm or something like that. Maybe I would do like 5 mm for the ribbing. I don't know. It was really fun. I felt like I was kind of winging it with this one a little bit more, and that kind of made it fun, but I am really, really pleased with how it turned out. I think I'm gonna get just a ton of wear out of it. Like, I feel like I'll have to knit another one because I'm gonna wear it so much, you know? But yeah, and even though it's mohair and wool, I think using the wool with the silk content makes it really light and drapey. I was wearing it this morning and I really didn't feel hot or itchy or anything. It was just very like light and comfortable. So that's my Lento. My third Lento, and I'm sure there'll be more in my future. I did cast that on recently as part of a knit along. I didn't finish in time, but I feel like there's always a Lento knit along going along. So if you've knit a Lento, let me know, or how many you've knit, because I know it's very popular. Okay, last knitting FO is another sweater, and I think it's one of my favorite ones that I've ever made. So I finished my Northwoods V-neck, and I'm in love. I love this yarn. I love this pattern. I think it was a match made in heaven. I'm gonna put in a video here of me wearing it. This has just immediately become my like throw it on in the morning, cozy, like this sweater feels like a hug. Like it just like wraps you up and just like makes me happy. It makes me so happy. So the yarn is Autumn and Indigo Fibers, local DK. It's 100% American Rambouillet. I got all of this yarn together, all the different colors in a lot from a D-stash. And so I don't know if it's still available or not. I wasn't able to find more of it, excuse me, but I'm glad I got it. So the light pink is Shiitake. The darker pink is Old World. The green is Cane, and the blue is Dusk. And I just thought the colors are beautiful, the names are beautiful. This yarn is like nothing I've ever worked with before. It makes me want to knit everything out of Rambouillet. It's so soft and light, but it's 100% natural wool. It's just kind of, I wish you could touch it. It's kind of unbelievably soft. Like, yeah, I'm just really happy with it. So yes, I decided to do the V-neck with the darker pink. I had the least amount of the blue, so that's why there's only one stripe in the blue on the body and the sleeves. And then on the sleeves, I ended on the light pink just by nature of that's when the sleeve was done. One thing I will say, there was a little bit of an issue with the numbers for my size at the beginning of the pattern. I puzzled through it. I think you definitely could too. I just had to tweak a little bit the amount of rows that were in the short row section, but it was all smooth sailing from there. I do think this yarn is going to be a little bit pilly. You might be able to see there at the underarm, we're starting to get a couple little pills already, but I have been wearing it fairly often. The one thing with this pattern is that because the stripes are so wide, in order to like finish your ribbing with the same width, you know, you're a little bit more restricted in like how short or long you can like crop or lengthen things. It worked out fine for me, but just something to note, unless you want the ribbings to be shorter, you kind of have to like pick or choose because it's like a 20 some row repeat. I hope that makes sense. I kind of just mean like for the body, if I had wanted it, like this is a little bit longer than I usually knit my sweaters because I didn't want it to be quite this short or quite another one long, you know what I mean? Like if I wanted it to be kind of here, I was kind of stuck doing this whole chunk, but I really am happy with it. This was also my first time doing a V-neck, I think. And I am a V-neck sweater girly, I have to say. I prefer a V-neck, as I'm wearing a V-neck now. I just think that they look really nice on me, and I am more comfortable in them because I don't really like anything like right up on my neck. So what I've learned is that I need to knit more V-necks. Yeah, that's the Northwoods V-neck. I made size 5 for a 52-inch bust. That was about 8 inches of positive ease for me. It is available up to a 68-inch bust with a recommended 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. I think that's it. Okay, one more FO, and it's handspun. So I kind of got back into spinning in the past few weeks. I feel like spinning, I'm kind of gonna just go through like phases with it, but I was watching a bunch of other creators on YouTube and everybody is spinning, and it really just inspired me to kind of dive back in. So I have some very fun yarn to show you. So this fiber was like so pretty. I'm gonna put a picture in. I ordered a set of Rolags from this company on Etsy. It's called A Gem Fiber Arts and Angoras. So I assume they raise their own rabbits. These were their Junkyard Art Rolags. I had about 3 ounces of Rolags, and it was a mix of Merino, Falkland, Starbright, Targhee, Sari Silk, and Tussa Silk Noir. The Rolags were so beautiful, I was almost sad to even spin them up. But what I got from them was this really fun kind of art yarn. It is definitely bulky, it is real chunky, but I love all these colors. So fun. Oh, these are just my colors. So I think I have about 130 yards, and it's a 2-ply. And I think what I might do with it is, so the first ever skein of handspun I ever made was just an undyed skein of Corriedale, and it's very similar in weight to this. It's super chunky, thick and thin, and I might take them and crochet like a pillow cover or something. I'm thinking something like that could be cute to like have in here in the sewing room, or you know, in the craft room. And yeah, I just think combining them could be nice, because I do like want to use my handspun, even like the weird crazy skeins like this. Yeah, I don't know, it's just when you don't get that much of it, it's a little bit harder to figure out a project. But I do think that a pillow cover would be really cute with this and that undyed Corriedale. Okay, that's it for finished objects. We're 30 minutes in. Let me pause here and then we'll move on to whips. Okay, so we've got 6 or 7 knitting whips, and then I'm gonna share a little bit of progress on my quilt at the end. So first up, the next pair of basic socks, actually the next 2 are on the needles. So basic sock number 4 from Summer's book is the German short row heel. So this is one I have knit before, but always good to revisit it. Let me show you what I've got, and I'm using a magic loop again, so it's a little bit hard to show. This is another pair of shorties. So you can see I'm using this crazy neon pink yarn. This is another scrappy pair. This was, I think, Kelborn Woolens in the color pink. It's their perennial base. You can see my short row heel there. The contrast cuff, I don't know what it is, just a little bit of scrap from my stash. This has a twisted rib cuff, and it also has some kind of special cast on, which I can't remember what kind of cast on it had. Oh, a German twisted cast on. Sorry, but you can see that. I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks different. Yes, this is the German twisted cast on, so another different stretchy cast on method. And as you can see, I'm just now knitting on the foot. So these have been my car knitting recently, and I haven't been driving that much or being driven around. I don't knit while I'm driving. Sorry, being driven. So haven't had that much car time. So this is all the progress I've made. But as I said, these are shorties. I think they're gonna fly by really quickly once they get some dedicated time. Oh, and then for the toe, I'm gonna do a fun pop of color, this lime green. So they're gonna be pink and purple and lime. Kind of a fun, crazy color combination. Summerly definitely inspires me to try crazy color combinations. All right, so the next one, basic sock number 5, I have already finished the first one. So this is a toe up Flegel heel sock. Here is the first one. Again, the foot looks so long, especially on this pair, but this sock fits me so well. It's like one of the best fitting socks I've ever made. So toe up, we've got this one hot pink toe, different hot pink than the last one. The main yarn is this fun speckly kind of pooling yarn, and that is something I bought in a D-stash. It's from Twink Knits. Doesn't say the color or anything, it just says hand-dyed sock yarn. So it's an 80-20 blend, but yeah, it's really fun. The speckle's kind of different. The pooling between the like white and the gray is kind of interesting. In the skein, it looked mostly like white and mostly this gray color. And then there was just one part of it that had like the flash of the pinks and purples. So it's interesting to see that it knits up kind of like sprinkles when it looked like it might pool like, you know, more dramatically, but no, you just kind of get these little sprinkles and it's really cute. So yeah, here's the Flegel heel. I have never knit a Flegel heel before. Kind of an interesting new technique for me. About 2 inches of leg, and then we've got about 1 inch of cuff, and this one has Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, which I also like. I feel like that the German twisted cast on and the sewn bind off are all nice options. I think for a 1x1 rib, I visually prefer the sewn bind off. I think it looks really nice. For a 2x2 rib, I think Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off is really nice. But yeah. And then yeah, we've got the hot pink again on the cuff. So yeah, again, it looks huge, but it fits really well. So yeah, I finished the first one and I've started on the second one. I'm more than halfway through the foot. So I've been kind of cruising on those. One thing I wanted to touch on, just because I talk about it all the time, every summer since I started knitting, I've participated in not Summerly, sorry Nordland's summer sock knit along. This year she's not doing it. Sad, pretty sad. I already had yarn set aside. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more at the end about what she's doing instead and how I'm planning to participate in that. But I had this plan to like knit these fancy socks over the summer. So instead, I think I'm just going to carry on with knitting knitting the patterns from summer's book as I've been doing throughout the summer, because right now they're mostly pretty easy patterns anyway. And then I think in the fall I might kind of revisit one of the old summer sock knit-alongs or kind of make one for myself, because I do have these 3 really beautiful skeins of yarn set aside for that. And I would like to kind of do the same project with them where you take 3 skeins of yarn and make 4 pairs of socks, the same type of like really beautiful like cable and lace socks. I'm just not going to be doing it right now like I normally would be. So I do hope that maybe Summer will consider bringing back the sock knit along in the future, but she has something else planned for this year, which again, I'll talk more about at the end. So that's it for socks. All right, next up, I have 2 knitting garment projects. Both are by Amy Scher, and I'm excited about both of them. So the first is the Oolong tank. I'm knitting size 5 with the size 1 bust darts, and I've made quite a bit of progress on this. So this is a bottom up top. It has this really pretty lace panel on the front. I'll put a picture of it in here. I am using Kelborn Woolens Mojave, which here is the ball band. It is 60% cotton, 40% linen, and it is a slightly on the heavier side of fingering weight, but definitely not quite a sport weight. It comes in 50-gram balls, and this is the color slate gray. I had 4 balls. I don't know if probably not gonna end up using all of them. So yeah, I've made quite a bit of progress on this. And it's so satisfying now that you can see the lace motif starting to appear. I just worked the bust darts, so that just makes the front a little bit longer than the back. And yeah, I just need to knit a couple more inches, I think, and then I'm gonna be ready for the sleeve separation, and then we'll be knitting back and forth. So I do want it to be cropped, just hit me right at my natural waist so I can wear it in the summer with skirts, high-waist skirts, over a dress, whatever. Yeah, I really like the color. I love seeing the lace motif. I'm really enjoying this yarn as a summer yarn. It's really nice to work with. And yeah, I've kind of finally hit my groove with this one, and I've been really, really enjoying it. I worked on it a lot yesterday. So it makes a really nice, soft, lightweight fabric as well. I feel like so many summer yarns, like cotton yarns, tend to be like a DK or worsted weight, but like a lighter one like this is really nice. All right. And next up, also by Amy Scher, is a test knit. So I definitely said I wasn't gonna do test knits anymore, but here we are. I did the preview sew for Matchy Matchy Sewing Club, and now I'm doing a test knit for Amy Scher. However, we're allowed to change our minds, you know, but also I just really, really appreciate everything that Amy's doing around size inclusivity, accessibility. I just really admire her work, and I saw this call for test knitters. This is the pattern. It's the campus vest. Very cute little cropped button-up cardigan kind of style vest. And I thought that is very achievable. There's 12 weeks for the test. It's very long. There's yarn support. Like everything about it just kind of like invited me in and made me very excited about it. And I have started working on it and I'm loving it. So I am knitting size 5 with the size 1 bust darts, same as I am doing for the oolong tank. And the yarn I'm using, one of the recommended yarns, is Harrisville Daylights. Here it is. I'm using the color Lent, which I don't know if you will be able to see this or not, but the thing with the Harrisville Daylights is that they're basically all the same color, but they each have different flecks of a little color. So this one has little flecks of purple. It is so subtle. Like maybe like right there, you can see one. I kind of don't know how they get away with selling 6 different colors of this, to be honest with you. The yarn is beautiful. I love it. It's so nice to work with. It is, oops. Sorry, here's the tag. It's American Cormo. And yeah, it's lovely to work with, but I'm like, it's not really purple. They're all kind of the same color. So maybe that's a hot take, but I kind of think they're all the same color. So that's how I feel. It's definitely just reads cream to me. Like, I mean, it's a lovely base color. It's the white with the little flecks of like the darker wool. I mean, you can see a teeny bit of purple, but it's not gonna read purple, you know? It's gonna read white with like a slight hint of purple. Anyway. So I have 4 skeins of that, and I started my vest, and here's what I have. Not that much. So this one's bottom up as well. I got through the ribbing. I'm just starting on the stockinette body. I am going to be shortening the body of mine by about 1.5 inches, just because I want it to hit me right at my natural waist versus hitting me like between my waist and high hip. So yeah, you can see it's knitting up really nicely. The yarn has a lot of body. It's interesting knitting, having knit the Northwoods V-neck with the 100% Rambouillet, and then knitting this with 100% Cormo. I can definitely tell a difference between the wools, which is interesting just like from my own learning. So I think the Rambouillet's softer, excuse me. The Cormo has a little more oomph to it, like it's a little more bouncy. It has a little more volume to it. It's also quite soft. However, I do think if you were really, really sensitive, this would bother you more than the Rambouillet. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think I'm gonna use these buttons from my stash, but we'll see once I finish. They're like a very dark shell, and then they have these little cutouts in them. And they're dark, but I do think that could look, how to show this? I do think it would look nice just because there's the little hints of the darker wool in the yarn as well. So I think those will look nice. Yeah. that's my campus vest. The test is going well. I also gotta give Amy props. The test is very organized and it's just been a joy. So I am right now just knitting back and forth on that. So I will carry on. I've got a tower of whips next to me. Okay. Next one, I wanted to show you all an update on the Hannah cardigan that I'm knitting for my friend's son. This, I cannot remember the designer's name, so I'll put that on the screen here. I can never remember it. Oh wait, is that on the pattern? Is it on the pattern? Sarah Antipinkov. Okay, Sarah Antipinkov. Nope. Sarah Antipinkov. Okay, there we go. Sarah Antipinkov. Anyway, this is a little half fisherman's rib cardigan. I'm making the size 2 to 3 years, and I finished the body. Here it is. The yarn's gorgeous. It's Ritual Dyes. I picked this up at yarn store in Chicago. This is Ritual Dyes Priestess, which is their 4-ply DK base, 100% superwash fine merino, and the color is sugar maple, which I just think this little cardigan is going to be like so stinking cute in the fall, like over a little t-shirt. So cute. So yeah, I finished the body. This is all half fisherman's rib. Here's the back. Has this nice shoulder detail. I do feel like you can tell one skein from the other, especially on the back. There was more of the brown in the first skein than there was in the second skein, but I don't think it really matters. It's so variegated. So yeah, I actually started one of the sleeves already and knit about half of it, and then realized that my stitch count was off because I hadn't picked up enough stitches. And normally I would not care and I would just, you know, wing it. However, with half fisherman's rib, your decreases are affected if your stitch count is wrong. So that was kind of a mess. And then I tried to fix it and it was more of a mess. So I just ripped the sleeve out, and I'm gonna try again and make sure I have the right stitch count. The sleeves are not quite as enjoyable to knit as the body because I'm having to knit them on DPNs just because they're so small. So the body I like breezed through. It was such a joy to knit. The half fisherman's rib, the texture is amazing, but the sleeves are gonna be a little bit more tedious. So, you know, the kid's not gonna wear this until fall, so there's no real rush. When I'm in the mood to knit these little sleeves, I will. They're not gonna take that long, but until then, at least the body's done. And I might have to get buttons for this. I don't think I have buttons, so I'll be on the hunt for some buttons for this soon. I think maybe like some little wood buttons would be really cute. Okie dokie. Last knitting whip is a new cast on. Yay! I think I'm about to have like 10 new cast ons. But this one I've already started and I am obsessed. So I finally started my 3 Seasons cardigan. Here's a picture of the design. I'm going to be making size 4. I think this is by Wool and Pine Studios. If it is not, I will put the designer on the screen. And I'm using a very special yarn for this, which I love very dearly. So I am using the Camellia Fiber Co. 100% organic merino wool, worsted weight, in the color Love Camellia. And it is just this beautiful light pink with these splashes of really hot bright pink. And I'm totally copying someone else who I saw knit this exact cardigan in this exact yarn on Instagram. I saw it, I had to have it. I'm recreating it. I think the version that I saw was made with the superwash version of this wool. So their hot pink is a little more like in your face, but I think this one with the little bit softer and the organic merino is just a cloud. It is so soft and gorgeous. I just love Camellia Fiber Co. I just love their yarn. So yes, I'm making size 4 and I've started the back panel and here's what I have. How to show it. Okay. Look at these cables. So there's lace and texture and cables. I think the yarn with those pink speckles is just so much fun. Sorry, my lighting's a little weird in here today. Yeah, it's so good. Look at these cables. So you can see you start with some provisional cast-ons. You can see my crazy neon yarn that I've got up here. Before you do those for the back neck shaping. Oh, it looks so good. Look at the texture. I think I have learned that this is my favorite kind of project. Beautiful, colorful, fun yarn and like intense cable and textures. I'm thinking of my like faded moon glow that I made a few months ago by Starry Northern. I love that sweater. That is like everything about the project just makes me want to keep coming back. Like the yarn is amazing, the pattern is amazing, the texture, it makes me happy. So yeah, I'm about halfway through the back panel and I'm loving it. So I'm gonna keep carrying on with this. That's just a couple nights work. It is very addictive. The texture is gorgeous. And yeah, I love it. I'm also gonna have to find buttons for this one. I do not have any, but yeah, I can't wait to finish this. I love it. Love it, love it. Okay, that's it for knitting. And in the last section, I'll talk a little bit more about some upcoming plans and new cast-ons I might have. But first, I did want to show you a check-in, some progress on my quilt. So last episode or 2 episodes ago, I showed you my first set of Sawtooth Star quilt blocks. So I'm making a scrappy Sawtooth Star quilt using linen scraps from like garments that I've made. I have 5 solid colors and 5 gingham colors, and I'm just doing every color iteration. So I'll have 50 blocks, and then if I need more or less, I'll go from there. So I finished the second set of 10, and I thought I would just quickly show them to you. So first up, we've got the pink and brown combo. At first I thought I wouldn't like these, but I do. They're fun. They surprised me. And then the inverse. We've got black and brown gingham with a white solid. I have the hiccups now. I apologize. Okay, these ones I love. This is the London Fog is the name of this gingham. It's kind of like a periwinkle in white with the solid black. These are also very fun. These ones are giving like 2008 Avril Lavigne Claire's black and white gingham with hot pink star. And the inverse. Anytime I see this particular shade of pink with black, it just makes me think of 2008. This one is probably my least favorite combo so far, but I think it'll still be really pretty in the context of the blanket. It's the olive green with the clay colored gingham. And that is it. So I now have 20 blocks done, and I've got at least 30 more to go and probably a couple more after that. And I think it'll end up being like a nice throw size quilt. So that is it for works in progress. Let me quickly grab a couple things and I have 1 acquisition, technically 2, and then we'll do a little bit of chat at the end. All right, so my first acquisition was the Harrisville Daylights that I'm using for my Campus Vest test knit. That I purchased from Amy Scher's shop. She did recently open an online yarn store alongside her pattern business. I'll link that below if you're interested in checking it out. And she did kindly offer some yarn support, so I was able to get that for 50% off, which was really, really nice and helpful. As a test knitter, you know, it is really nice when the designer can offer some additional incentive for the test aside from a copy of the pattern. So really, really appreciated that. And it gave me a chance to try this beautiful yarn that I've been wanting to try for ages at a little bit of a discount. In addition, my second acquisition, I have no plan for, which I think is unlike me. I do try my best to always buy things with a plan, or, you know, I'm either buying it secondhand or I'm buying it with a plan. This I just had to have. So, Spin Cycle came out with a new color a few weeks ago called Reckless Abandon, and it's the orange and pink of my dreams. So I had to buy 3. So, I mean, I'm having a pink and orange moment, and how could you not? Like, look at it. It's pink and orange and purple. So this is the dyed in the wool sport weight wool. 100% American wool, superwash, 200 yards for, I guess it's really like a fingering weight, because it is 50 grams, 200 yards. That's like a heavy fingering light sport, I guess, but yeah. Oh, I love it. So yes, okay. I don't have a specific plan in mind. However, I used it properly this time. However, I know that Andrea Mowry is probably going to be releasing her Rhinebeck pattern in the next couple of months. And I'm probably going to decide that I want to knit it, and it almost always calls for Spin Cycle. So if it ends up being appropriate to use for that, then I will use it for that. If not, I'm sure something will come along at some point that calls for Spin Cycle that I'm going to want to knit, and then I will use it for that. I was kind of brainstorming already, like what would be a good like main color to go with this, and I really don't know. I feel like a really deep teal would probably be pretty, or like a really dark chocolatey brown, or like a gray. I don't know. What do you all think? I'm curious. Or even like a white, like creamy white or something. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, TBD, but I mean, love. Okay, chat. I have a whole list of things because it's been so long. So I'm sorry if this feels like random. I'm just gonna go down the list. So first up, Me Made May. Me Made May is over, but for the whole month of May, I was sharing on Instagram almost every day. I think I posted most days a reel with my outfit of all clothes that I made myself. It was mostly sewn garments, but I did manage to sprinkle in a few knitted garments as well. So if you're interested in seeing those, I do have them saved in a highlight on my Instagram, or you can go to the Reels page on my Instagram and they're all there as well. It was really fun this year. I definitely found a lot of other makers with body types similar to mine that were participating, which was so nice to like see everyone's different style, different patterns that I'm like, oh, I love that. Now I want to make that for myself. Like particularly there was one maker, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I'll put it below, who inspired me to try like a shorter skirt or a shorter dress, you know, like let's let the legs out. So it was a really good time. But I'm also kind of glad that it's over, because it's a little bit exhausting to try and remember to like document your outfit every day. But I mean, I participate every year, so. All right, we also, as I said, we did the special Mother's Day episode. I will have linked that below if you're interested. Now I'm gonna talk about our new baby Elsie, speaking of Mother's Day. So on Mother's Day, my mom and sister were over at our house, and I told them that we had, you know, seen some stray cats around, and long story short, we went outside and we found this kitten in our backyard. We have a basement, and outside there's kind of like a recessed like well where the window of the basement is, and then there's some plants that grow over that, and she was hidden in the well, in the window well. And we found her and brought her in, and we are keeping her. She's our new baby. Here's a picture. Her name is Elsie, which this is so obscure, but she's named after the mascot of a milk company, Borden's, if you're familiar with them. I don't know if it's just a Midwest thing, but their mascot is a cow named Elsie, and she's very cute. And also it just felt right because we already have Moo, and now we have Elsie, who's also named after a cow. And it just felt like a good name for her. So yes, this is Elsie. It's been quite a time. She was about 4.5, 5 weeks old when we found her. So there was a lot of care at first that she was needing. Thankfully, she was big enough to eat real food. You know, we didn't have to bottle feed her. She was fairly self-sufficient, but still just like making sure she was like, okay. And you know, when you're a new parent, you get nervous. And I've never had a kitten this small. She's so little and so tiny. When we found her, she weighed like 0.8 pounds. Now she weighs like 1.5 pounds. So yes, she's about 7.5 weeks old now, or 8, you know, nearing there. And she's doing really well. She's such a sweetheart. She's crazy, 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 running around playing all the time, but then she loves to snuggle too when she's sleepy. So yeah, she's such a sweetheart. The other kitties like her a lot. They're all getting along very well. Moo wants to be best friends with her. Alex, who's like our slightly older boy, he's 8. He's a little more like, keep that crazy thing away from me, but he's coming around. Everyone's being nice and getting along. So it has been an exciting and chaotic time. So yes, please welcome Elsie to the family. All right, next I mentioned it already, but I was gonna share my bingo with you. So last episode I talked about how my friend Jess and I, you're gonna get one more mention, Jess. She suggested this idea of like a crafty summer bingo. So I just made this really simple bingo board. I'm doing one per month. So you can see I got my bingo. So I thought I would just tell you the things that were in my bingo. So the free space in the middle, and then on either corner I had sew a garment. So I had that on here 5 times, and I think I crossed them all off. I also had publish a podcast, that was in my bingo line, and then finish my Lento was the kicker. So I almost had a couple other, like I almost had this one, but I was not gonna finish my oolong tank. And I almost had this one, but I wasn't gonna get 10 more quilt blocks done. So I was like, realistically, the one I could finish is the Lento. So that's what I did. And this was a great motivational tool for me. I would not have finished that if it wasn't for my bingo. So this has been really fun. I started my June one. I wrote in all the squares. A lot of them are the same, you know, there's like 5 sew a garment, there's 2 like knit socks, there's a couple more specific things like I have a dye project I want to do, lots of fun stuff on there. So I've already crossed a couple things off. And I put a few more spinning ones on the one for June as well. So yeah, this was really fun, helped to motivate me. And last but not least, I was just going to talk about some knitting plans, some upcoming cast-ons. So, as I said, Sari Nordland is not doing her summer sock knit along this year, but instead she is going to be doing a summer shawl knit along. And I think the idea is to knit 3 like small shawls or little scarves in 3 months. So the first pattern is going to come out on the 8th, I believe, and then there'll be one in June, one in July, one in August, and then if you finish them all, you're like eligible for prizes. They're all going to be fingering with mohair or DK. So at first I was like so sad about not doing the sock knit along that I said I'm not going to participate. But then she released a preview, and the first little shawl is the poet pattern, her poetry lace pattern, which is my all-time favorite. So obviously I'm going to participate. So I didn't want to buy yarn, so I just kind of went stash diving to see what I had. And I'll show you what I'm thinking about using. I might have to improvise a little bit depending on how large these actually are and how much yarn they call for. So what I was thinking about making the first one out of, the poetry one, is this. This is just white Knit Pick Stroll, or sorry, it's undyed. They're Knit Pick Stroll sock yarn. And there's not a ton of this left in this ball, but I know I can get more of this very easily. I might honestly just go ahead and order another ball, just so I know I have enough. And then I have 1 ball of Rowan Kid Silk Haze mohair in off-white. So I was gonna use those for one. I have this, I lied, Jess, you're getting 2 more mentions. I have this gorgeous skein of sock yarn that Jess gifted me. It is from Craft Me Not Yarn Company based in Pennsylvania, but I do think this is like it's like a trial skein. It's kind of a one-off of their Lurlin at Dusk color, but this is like I said, kind of a one-off trial. Really, really pretty neutrals. It kind of reminds me of like abalone. And then I have this mohair in stash. It's not a full ball, so I'm hoping I'll have enough. I do have another mohair I was considering holding with this one that's more of this blue, and I have a full skein of that. So once I see the yardage requirements, if I think I don't have enough of this, I'll use the blue instead. But I did think that these were a prettier match. So that's what combo for whatever second one or third one. And then for the last one, oh, I have a yarn mess here. One second. For the last one, I didn't really have any other fingering mohair combos that I thought would work, but I do have this really pretty skein of sock yarn that I just thought I could hold a double. So 2 of them will be with mohair and 1 will just be like a DK. So we'll have to see. I know I want to use mohair for the poetry one, but then depending on what the other 2 are, one of them I'll just use this. So yeah, that was kind of fun to go stash diving for those. I am also, here's your last shout out, Jess. Jess influenced me to cast on a neon pink tee. So we're casting on neon pink tees. Join our neon pink tee along. It's not like official, but if you want to join the party, please feel free. I have this obnoxiously pink sport weight yarn that I recently picked up at a D-stash. I have 3 skeins of this, and I was kind of struggling to find a pattern for it. But then Park Williams, is that her last name? Just released her sport tee, the sport tee. Here's a picture, very cute. Drop shoulder, oversized crop tee. Everything I love. I think this yarn will be a pretty good match for it. She's using cotton, a cotton linen blend. This is super washable. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, will I ever wear a t-shirt this color? I'll find a time, because just look, I mean, look at it. It is pink. So yes, I'll probably be casting that on soon as well. And the other thing that's coming out this week or next week, I think this coming Friday, is the Tulsa Tank by Rebecca Clow, which I am ready to cast on. I have a bunch of summer yarns set aside. I think I'm probably gonna knit a few of them. I'm very excited for this pattern. It's been in the works for a long time, and I love Rebecca's patterns, so I will definitely be casting that on probably as soon as it comes out, and plan to knit a couple. So that's it. That was a lot today, but I'm loving all of my projects right now. Something about this time of year definitely brings my sojo out. Like, I've just been wanting to sew a lot of garments and work on my quilt, and yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gravitating towards more lightweight wool. So I actually am hibernating a project. I just decided to hibernate my Fortuna's Wheel pullover. I've showed it recently. I haven't been making a lot of progress on it. It is a worsted weight color work sweater, and it's just too much for right now. It's like double work. It's just really heavy, and I don't know. I definitely want to finish it eventually, but I know I'm not going to work on it this summer. So I just went ahead and put it away for now, stored it safely, hibernating it, so that I can work on some of these things that are just inspiring me a little bit more right now. So I'm definitely feeling the seasonal shift. I'm curious if you all are too. But thank you so much for watching. I will try and not go a whole month between podcasts next time, but you never know what's gonna happen. Sometimes you get a new kitten and everything goes crazy. So yes, thank you for watching and being here today. Please leave me a comment. If you made it this far, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It really helps the channel, helps to grow our little community here. And yeah, I hope you get lots of crafting in the next couple of weeks, and enjoy the warmer weather if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you are going into the fall in the Southern Hemisphere, that's the best time. Oh wait, that's not right. Spring? Winter? I don't know. Have a great couple of weeks, and I will see you next time. Bye.